You know,
then why is there this controversy? Okay, now maybe not with the true
I
believer,
don't know.
but then
Yeah.
obviously, so what if Jesus had olive-colored skin or he was dark? That's where he lived. He would look like
I
something
think that's
like
a
that.
distraction, Mark. Yeah. I think it's a distraction. I really do. I listen to Isaiah 53. This is the reason.
Unfortunately, it only goes to show how prejudiced people are that they would
Sure.
want to depict Jesus the way they look or the way they think
Absolutely.
he would look. That Jesus would be a white man, okay, as opposed
Yeah.
to
Mark, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Mark. Do people's opinions, though, change the truth about Jesus?
No, they shouldn't.
All right.
The
Well,
thing-
how do
the
we
thing-
know the truth of Jesus? It's a very easy answer. Listen, the reason we know, I'm not going to play games. I'm not going to play word games with you tonight. I'll just get to the point. The reason we know is because if I were to ask the question again, how do I validate Christianity? How do I know that this Christianity, the Bible-believing Christianity, mixed in with the Old Testament, is all validated? It's God's story of Jesus from beginning to end. How do I know this? It's because of one word,
Faith.
Bible.
Well, isn't it faith?
Bible. And what validates, hold on, Mark, let me finish it. I know you want to object to this. But what validates my faith, is supernaturalism. I believe that the Bible, although it was written by men, you're absolutely right. I know you're going to throw that at me. It was also inspired by God. And because it was inspired by God, we have a written record of God's story with man's redemption from beginning to end, starting with Adam and Eve, ending with the end times. I believe that is supernatural. And what validates that faith, what validates Jesus being valid as God in flesh who died for your sin, is the writings, God's Word. And if we can't trust the Bible, we cannot trust any other book of antiquity. And we're going to find out in a few minutes why that is. I think that's an important question. Go ahead, Mark.
No. I agree with you. I agree with you.
You agree?
Yes.
No, you disagree with me.
No, I agree with you on that.
You mean you disagree with me?
Why would I disagree?
See, you're using the law of non-contradiction. It exists.
Well, then what? There. It's this is almost like Rod Serling. There is a fifth dimension beyond that which is known to man. Basically, we can have X number of dimensions. I could be sitting here in one dimension. In another dimension, I could be sitting here and holding that Time magazine in my right hand. And in another dimension, I could be sitting here and I don't have that Time magazine.
Oh, Mark, you're so distracted. Mark, you don't really believe that, do you, Mark?
I don't know what I believe anymore. Now, seriously, I am so confused. I'm being
Mark,
very honest with you.
How do I know? But we go based on reality, okay? Let's go back to the beginning. We know that in the beginning there was nothing, right? And God created everything.
Right.
Or at least that's what I was
Okay.
saying. I'm not going to put words in your mouth.
He
Maybe
created the
you don't
Big
believe
Bang.
that.
Or I
Yeah,
think
we got to start there, Mark, because otherwise none of this is going to make sense. If you can't believe in the greatest miracle, which starts in Genesis 1, then why believe that Jesus can walk on water? I mean, why believe Jesus at all? If I can't validate to you that God created the universe, we're stuck on stage one, aren't we? And we're just going to keep going around and around and around, and you're going to say, well, I disagree, and I'm going to say, I disagree. But see, we both have to come to terms that something happened in the beginning, and we have to validate who that someone is. Now, I'm going to argue that it was a monotheistic God, a creator, somebody with a mind that's outside of our dimensions. You just mentioned dimension, right, Mark?
Right.
Well, in order for God to have time, space, I want you guys to get this. In
Time,
order for
space.
there to be time, space, and matter after the nothing, then what created it had to be outside of time, space, and matter. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, otherwise it doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. So here we have something. I'm not gonna label it yet. Let's take it one step at a time. You have time, space, and matter out of nothing. Somebody had to create it. They had to be a mind. You know why I know it had to be a mind?
No.
Do you want to know?
I do want to know. Yeah, sure.
All right. The reason I know that it's a mind is because you have a mind. Very simple, right?
I don't know. A lot of people would debate that, but okay.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question, Mark. Your brain, is it just a brain with chemicals and electrodes and whatever else you want to put in there, or is it a brain and a mind and they're separate? Do you think okay, let me ask you. I messed that up. Do you think that the brain and the mind are separate, or do you think it's just one thing?
I think that they are not separate, that they are one thing.
They're one thing. Okay. Now, if I were to say to you, torturing babies for fun is great, what would you say?
I'd say you're a real sick puppy.
Why?
Because innately, I would know that that is the wrong thing to do. I mean,
okay. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Right,
you have an inkling? What do you mean? You have a tuition that it's wrong to torture babies for fun?
Here we go again. Okay, I would say that. Just a minute. Let me adjust my mic here.
Your mic is good. Don't worry.
No,
you're beautiful, Mark.
I'm getting feedback.
That's because you guys are talking so fast with a second delay. You're just talking over each other.
Oh, that's
Go
right.
ahead.
Yeah, my bad.
I would know, and here's the key word. I would know innately that is the wrong thing to do. Okay, and you would.
What do you mean? Wait. What was the word, Mark? What was the word you just used? I missed it.
I said I would know innately that is the wrong thing to do.
What does innately mean? What does that mean?
That's it. Well, that's it. Then you would say, well, what do you mean by that? What's innately? And all the leading back to the fact that somebody had to plant that idea in my mind for me to know that.
But Mark, but I think it's a logical question, and it is very circular because you're fighting against it, Mark. Listen, how do I know that rape is not good for society? Because here's the reason. There are some societies where they think it's okay to do that governmentally wise. Now, the women may not like it. They may not like it. There's somebody out there thinking in their brain that it is okay to rape.
Not that it's okay to rape, but you have African countries that practice this self-mutilation of women. Okay.
That's right.
So that.
Well, how do you know that's wrong?
What?
How do you know it's wrong? Obviously, they think it's right. How do you know it's wrong? Are you going to go in that country and tell them what they ought to do?
Not if I want to live.
Right, but I'm thinking hypothetically. If you had a way to bullhorn that message from the other side of the world, would you tell them that raping and mutilating of women is wrong?
Of course it is, because I would say, as a man, how would you feel if that was done to you?
I don't know. My DNA says it's okay to do it, Mark. I don't share the same brain with you. See, here's the problem. You don't share the same brain. And what somebody's brain chemicals are doing in one brain is doing something different in another. Everybody's DNA is different. How do you know that raping women is just not in their DNA? See, what you have is a problem. Because what you have is what I call materialism. If God did not exist, then there's no need for a mind outside of the brain. In other words, there's no objectivity outside of the brain, right? And what you really have is evolution. You have the evolution of a brain. Okay, fine. Explain this to me. Well, for instance, I personally do not like rape. I think it's wrong, and I think you do, Mark. I'm not belittling you. I hope you don't feel that way. I think that you think rape is definitely wrong. But the problem is here, Mark, is you cannot justify why it is wrong without there being an objective God who tells us all things. I mean, what if somebody else's God, like let's take, hold on, Mark, let me throw this at you. Let's say Moloch. Now, Moloch was a god, a mole-headed god that burned babies alive. It was a statue, but the priest of the Canaanites, for instance, used to place parents' children on these hot iron hands and burn them to death. And then they would play music loud so that the parents did not hear the screams of the children. And we found that in archaeology. That's not a problem. So my question is, their God told them it would be okay to do this, apparently, and also bestiality. Bestiality was very rampant with the Canaanites. How can I go to them if there's multiple gods and multiple religions? I guess I can't interfere with that. I guess burning children alive and having sex with animals is perfectly acceptable to them. See, to me it's not right because my God says it's not right. But that doesn't make sense of reality. It's either right or it's wrong. See, what we have then is a problem. We cannot correctly define what is right and what is wrong. If I said to you, torturing babies for fun is indifferent, how would you respond to that?
You're one sick puppy. How could it be indifferent?
Okay, but Mark, then you are the sick puppy.
You lost me.
You are, because your ideology is that we cannot totally know what's right and wrong. How do I know that torturing babies for fun is right? How does your brain have the right to tell another brain what they're doing is wrong?
What I said to you originally...
You don't have that right.
No, but what I said to you originally was that you know innately that it's wrong, and then before you even...
I don't know what that's... Mark, what does that word mean?
Well, that's...
Mark, what is that? I don't understand what that word means. That's all. I'm just asking for a definition.
That it's there. You know, I mean, you wonder who planted that. Well, I know you're going to say God. Okay, your answer would be God.
Okay, go back to that. No, Mark, I like that. Okay, so it's just there. Okay, now I would say that there has to be a mind outside of this creation that says torturing babies for fun is wrong. But there is another person somewhere else who disagrees with that. Now, do I have a right to tell that person that they're wrong?
Well, now please take this for what it's worth. As a card-carrying member of the ACLU, I would say that they have a right to do whatever they want to do. Do I really believe that? No, I don't. Okay?
You don't. You know why, Mark? You know why you don't really believe that? Because Genesis 1:26 says that you're made in God's image. And the only place on the earth that is located is right in Genesis, which is in the Bible. So again, the Bible validates reality, it validates supernaturalism, and it validates God's Word. It is God who says things are right and things are wrong. The other religions of the world are false. I am coming into this very objective. I am saying that if you believe that Jesus is Michael the Archangel, or Jesus is just a prophet, or Jesus never really existed, then you are damned. That's what I'm saying. Now, you have the right to come in, Mark and Felix, and say, well, I don't agree with that. That's fine. But it's not going to be a debate until we can validate each other's sides. All you're throwing at me right now, Mark, and I say this out of complete love for you, is just opinions. Well, it's my opinion that people can believe what they want. Right.
You're right.
And I'm asking you,